Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nerd a Day podcast. I'm your host, your doctor recommended dose of nerdiness, aka your Nerd a Day, Carlos Rodriguez. And it feels good to say that again. It's been a long time since I've done my own thing, almost a year. It's 11 months. But before we get into the episode proper, I want to give a special shout out to my Patreons out there. You can support me at patreon.com/nerdaday. Link is down below. Hopefully also Matt Maggie. Thank you guys for supporting me. Jeff, Susan, Brandon, Pass. Thank you all for supporting me. Again, links down below if you want to just support my journey. Even a little bit goes a long way to upgrading gear, cameras, microphone, lights. This house. Who knows? All right, but let us kick off the episode proper. We are talking about Switch 2 today. That's right. We had the announcement of the Switch 2 about a couple weeks ago, the worst kept secret in video games. But we had a full hour-long direct dedicated to the Switch 2, which launch details, games, button details, what accessories work, and all this other stuff. We still have more stuff planned for the rest of the week. There's two Nintendo Tree Houses, like 3 hours long, in the following days, like Thursday and Friday. As of this recording, or posting, there should be one up today and one up tomorrow. But let's get into it proper. We have a release date. No, mind me as I look over here on my notes right here. Took some notes, and we have the down below will be the full hour-long direct and the website for Switch 2 where you can pre-order or learn how to try to pre-order because they're trying to not have scalpers, and more details that I'm pulling from here. So it's going to be available June 5th, 2025. Everyone thought it was going to be available today. Not as a shadow drop, but like we all were thinking it was coming out today, and it's not, unfortunately. It was announced, all the stuff today coming out then. We have a MSRP of $449.99 in America. Hopefully that doesn't change with the political landscape being what it is in the tariffs. Who knows? And that is just the system below with the Joy-Cons, the dock, and the system itself. Then there's another SKU, which is Mario Kart World, which we'll talk about a little bit, the new Mario Kart being bundled with the Switch 2, and that is an MSRP of $499.99. So 500 right there. Extra $50 gets you the game, which is really good because when we get into it in a minute about Mario Kart World, I'm going to give you the bad, the good, and all the little nerdy stuff in between. To steal something from Andre Black Nerd Comedy. So again, 6/5/2025 is the release date here. Website has a direct, everything like that, feature games. But what I want to go into is all the really nitty gritty stuff real quick before we get into my thoughts on the fun stuff and the announcements throughout the direct. First and foremost, we have the size of the system, approximately 4.5 inches tall, 10 inches wide, 55 inches thick, with two Joy-Con controllers attached. And that's width-wise, it's still the same as Switch, normal Switch. It just has a bigger screen. It will be, see right here, we have a touchscreen again, 7.9-inch wide color gamut LCD screen, 1080p, HDR10 support on the screen itself, and variable refresh rate. Such a hard word to get out. Up to 120 hertz on the system itself. The CPU and GPU are custom processors made by NVIDIA. I'm sure Digital Foundry or many other sources on the internet will have those details. If not now, later on, scour the internet, check everyone's reactions and their thoughts on the Switch to support everyone out there. This time, a storage is going to be 256 gigs of UFS storage on the device itself, which is way up from what we originally got when the original Switch launched back in the day with 32 gigs. So, and again, a portion of that is going to be for the system itself. It does have upgradable storage, similar to what we had with the Switch 1, but this time it's not regular micro SD, it's micro SD Express, which unfortunately is a new technology, not proprietary, but new and expensive a little bit. So there's good and bad there, right? At least I saw some going on sale currently for 256 gig micro SD card Express was going for like $60. So what was the price of a full game last generation? You get more storage and only up it up to a little over 500, and depending on how much space the OS takes, who knows? Communication features. It only has wireless Wi-Fi 6, so not 6E or 7, which 7 doesn't make sense. Still relatively new in the hardware space and adoption rate, but 6E feels like the way it should have been. It feels like a lost opportunity there. It does have Bluetooth. Hopefully, I didn't see if they mentioned anything. The other one did have Bluetooth, but it wasn't activated until 4 years into the system's lifetime. So who knows? Hopefully, it's day one. You can use your Bluetooth headsets or whatever you that may be there. In TV mode, the Switch 2 can be connected using wired LAN port on the dock itself. Which my dock, I have a Switch 1 right here. I have a little expansion like USB thing to plug in, uh, you know, a LAN port in there. But I know that the OLED Switch does have Ethernet port directly into the dock, so that has come forward in the Switch 2 generation. Here we go. Video output, specifically when you HDMI connected to the TV, it will support a maximum of 4K at 60 frames per second TV mode. Again, supports 120 frames per second when in 1080p mode docked, or 1440p resolutions are selected. They didn't mention anything in the direct itself about 1440p. They did mention 1080p 120 hertz in the direct itself. It does support HDR10, which is nice to see all these very modern comforts that we've come used to with the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series console, a lot of PCs, especially, if you beefed it up, coming over to the modern day with Nintendo. So it's nice to see. Um, Surround sound effect can be applied without putting the headphones and stuff like that. 3D audio is going to be a big thing now, which is nice because I have these, which are, you see they're like Xbox branded, but they play on every console. So I'm hoping I can just plug this to the top of my, it's two USB-C connectors. So I'm hoping I can just put the little thing on the top, listen to Zelda in 3D. That'd be cool. Yeah, moving on, we have stereo speakers, a built-in microphone, which was shown off, and we'll talk about in a moment, with a special new button because it has voice isolation software that is built into the system itself. So you can do party chat. It's, I think, I forget what they called it, but it's in my notes, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but it's like a party chat feature. It is Discord just for Nintendo. They have that. And then as well, as I mentioned, two USB-C ports and audio jack, game card slot, which is up there. Switch 2 game cartridges are red, as well as their boxes, it seems like, are going to be red if you buy a physical game. Similar to before, sensors, the accelerometer, gyroscope, mouse sensor on the Joy-Con 2. Both of them can be used independently as mouses. There's a couple different games that show that off in the direct. You can check it out below. Oh, and as well, the back of the Switch itself has like this cool little hinge that can go very low, very downward. Similar to the OLED, but it's just more like a bar this time instead of like a flat piece. Battery hour says here 2 to 6.5 hours. Those are rough estimates. This is official website, by the way. Rough estimates. The battery life will depend on games you play. Charging time approximately 3 hours while the system is in sleep mode. Dock itself, 2 USB ports, USB 2.0 compatible on the side, system connector, AC adapter port, HDMI port, LAN port. The Joy-Cons themselves, it's not mentioned here on the dock, but they did show the connector. It is a brick, like power brick, that is detachable to a USB-C cord. So you can get like a USB-C cord, C to C, just plug it into the brick itself. It's not like hardwired in there. You can actually separate them, however you want to travel with your Switch 2 or anything like that. I have a Steam Deck, so I'm sure that can charge that. Moving on to the Joy-Con 2 controllers, we have, they're very similar. They're a little bigger than before. Some of the buttons that we mentioned, up, down, left, right, L, ZL, ZR, CL, right, left, right, down. Capture button, release button. Because they're magnets, you have to press a button to release the magnets, very strong magnets. And it seems the Z buttons, CRZL, on either Joy-Con are metal, so they are the ones who are the connectors. You have to hit the button to release them. And then on the right side, there is a new button called the C button. C button is our chat button. I don't know what we were all hoping for, but it is a chat button. Both of them are 3.0 Bluetooth, and then on the right is NFC for your Amiibos, I'm assuming. Bringing that back over as well. HT Rumble 2 is the vibration, so an upgraded version of what we had in Switch 1. Again, I have no idea what this is. They didn't show this off in the direct, so I'm sure maybe we'll see it in the treehouse, or maybe there's some game that you can feel how many cubes of ice are in there. There's new straps for the Joy-Cons themselves and a new grip as well that comes. It seems like this is all packaged in when you buy it itself. And then accessory-wise, we have a new Pro Controller coming out. Again, HD Rumble 2, motion controls, built-in Amiibo functionality, the capture button, the C button for game chat, that's what it's called, sorry. GL and GR buttons on the back, which you can map to anything you choose. That was cool. And an audio jack for four-pole stereo, 3.5 millimeter mini plug on the bottom there. Again, Joy-Con straps, there's new wheels coming out, and then other accessories. You could buy a Switch to, all the stuff to get all in one carrying case, new carrying case you're gonna need. You can buy a new dock if you want. That's $100. And then they showed off this Switch 2 camera that you can use with game chat feature. It'll show your face. So if you're like with other, people and things like that, you can kind of show that off. And then moving on, the AC adapter, which is about $30. And again, micro SD Express are one of the accessories. Moving on to more kind of nerdy, nitty-gritty stuff, there's going to be updates to the Nintendo Switch app, where on the Switch app you can get specific, you see like who are your friends online at that moment, similar to what you would see on the home screen. Game specific services, which is cool, is like a Zelda thing, which you can do. They should show it here. They're called game notes. Specifically with Tears of the Kingdom on the thing here, they have voice memories, navigation, my play data, which you can see, daily bonus info, global play data, item sharing, and auto build sharing. The auto build sharing is cool. So if you build something specifically in Tears of the Kingdom, Switch 2 edition, which we'll get into it, you can share that with a friend through this app. Splatoon 2 and Animal Crossing are getting some stuff on there as well. And then some voice chat will be specifically through that app, similar to what we had before. I'm assuming there's Switch 1 games. On the website itself, which I found, and they didn't mention this in any of the direct, there's some accessibility settings, which they highlighted here. We have text option, button mapping, which you can change the buttons on there, display colors, screen zoom features, mono audio, text to speech, game chat, text to speech audio, which is going to be interesting, and voice speech to text. I'm sorry. Moving on, there is a couple more things to touch upon before like the really fun stuff I want to talk about. Compatibility wise, not everything is compatible. Moving from Switch 1 to 2, the Sega Genesis control pad will be compatible if you bought it on the Nintendo Online Store. The N64 compatible controller, wireless one, will be compatible. SNES will be compatible, and the NES will be compatible. Again, this I'm specifically speaking North American territories. I'm assuming for Switch 2 in Japan, it will be the Famicom, Super Famicom, Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, or Master System. The Pro Controller, which I'm most excited about, will be used moving forward as well. The Switch one, which I have right here, luckily enough. Boom, there you go. So I can actually use this to play. It can be charged by connecting it to the Nintendo Switch dock via USB cable, and I can pair it wirelessly to my Nintendo Switch 2 as well. This is another good news. The Joy-Cons themselves can be used and paired wirelessly to the Nintendo Switch 2. Unfortunately, the system itself obviously cannot charge them because they don't have the slide feature. Everything's magnets on the side. Whole new system, you have to charge them a different way. If you have like a third-party item that you can set them in and charge them, it's pretty cool. A friend of mine, Billy, has one. And then they did allude when they first talked about the Switch 2 that there was going to be some compatibility issues, and most games will be able to be played on the Switch 2. Now we have confirmation. It's like almost 200 games though. I think we all assumed it was just going to be whatever cardboard game there was for Switch where you kind of make like a VR headset. I thought it was just going to be that. It's quite a bit. Alan Wake Remastered from Epic Games has some handling issues. They said the issues are being investigated. Alien Isolation, just to name a few. Just looking over here, Fall Guys, it says here the issues being investigated, and some I highlighted that these are Nintendo Switch games with startup issues. Like you cannot even launch them, so there's some issues there. Most of them are being investigating, so hopefully they get fixed. But one of the two I wanted to highlight that I thought was weird. Fortnite is going to have some issues launching from jump, but instead of investigating it, there's going to be just a Switch 2 port of that. And then Final Fantasy, I'm assuming one, like the retro collection, the HD, not HD remastered, but the kind of remastered thing that we just recently got about 2 years ago. That had some issue starting up. So that's going to be really interesting to see. There's a couple things from Dive and Aspire as well, with startup issues. So it's just really weird. I think we all assumed that it was just like 2 games. It's like 100 some games, according to Kotaku. Again, this super nerdy, dense website will be down below. But moving on, let's get into the fun stuff because I wanted to talk about this specifically. I took notes while I was watching the direct earlier in secret. Don't worry about it. If you know, you know. Kicked off right off the bat, not even introducing anybody, anything like that. We just kicked off with Mario Kart, which we got a kind of a preview before when they announced the Switch 2 proper. But this is Mario Kart World. We have an official title for it. I think it's a great title. The map is huge. It's a whole world map, and I akened it in my notes too. It's like for Forza Horizon Mario Kart. You can drive anywhere. There's like a world mode where you can just drive endlessly around the world and go here, there. You could be on road, off road, things like that. Some of the other things they showed off was Grand Prix mode. You know, we're all used to the 4. You know, you want to do a cup, let's say the Mushroom Cup, 4 races. You see who wins, who's the best, or you're doing by yourself solo, and then you get your best times. See if you can get the cup, get the gold, and all that stuff. In this, you continue to drive to each race, which I thought was really cool. Well, that might be the other mode that was listed, where it was a continuous mode where you go from one end of the world to another. So you can start in the snowy part and end your way in the lava part. And there's like 8 races in between, but you have to drive to each location in between tracks, which I thought was really cool. And then there's other modes as well. Like I said, free roam, there's picture taking. This seems like it was funny because like looking at it and knowing what we had with the previous Mario Kart, which was, you know, on Wii U and then just remastered and just kind of built upon a little more and more, and like the ultimate edition of Mario Kart. We were all like, well, how do you make, you know, what do you do from here? You know, do you just make, which a lot of us assume, a Nintendo Kart? Like no more Mario Kart, just because Link's in the other one and some of the Inklings are in there as well. Why not just do a Nintendo Kart and you have, you know, Mario, Link, Donkey Kong, you know, Luigi, Pit, you know, whoever it may be from different Mario, like basically Super Smash Brothers, but for Mario Kart. And that's not what we got. What we got was more interesting in my head. Like a open world Mario Kart where you can just kind of do whatever you want and kind of live a life and just drive around sounds so oddly relaxing in a weird way. And I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how we build upon that in that world. That is one of the biggest highlights for me. The bad news here is later on in the direct, we did get confirmation of the price, or it was when it finally posted on the website. Separate. If you don't buy the Mario Kart bundle, as we mentioned earlier, it was $500. If you buy the game separate, it is $79.99 for a digital game. Moving forward, it seems like a lot of games for Switch 2 will be this price point. Not every game. Switch 2 editions of certain games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom will be $70, not $60. This is $80. And then if you want this physical, which is a big thing, you know, for a lot of people, it will be $90. So an extra $10 for a physical edition of Mario Kart World. A lot of controversy obviously has come up with this as, you know, as the hours pass since the direct. A lot of thoughts. You know, a lot of people talk about the ballooning gaming industry and things like that, and costs going into gaming, and we all understand. It is crazy. I I would say personally, I think 90 might be a too much, especially and specifically talking physical, especially it seems like many of the game cards themselves don't really hold the data. They are like physical DRM basically, and they are a version of just you have the license basically. Everything will get downloaded when you put it into the Switch. But it's your way to show, hey, I own this game. Um, in a physical manner, but there's no data specifically on the cart, it seems like, except for Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition, Cyberpunk 2027, 2027, yeah, 2027 is launching with it that has some data on the cart. They had a whole post CD Project Red had and things like that. Once we got there, we got introduction to the developers of the Switch 2 themselves. They introduced themselves, and then we talked about one of the new um buttons on the controller, as I mentioned, the C button, which is game chat. Um, you can share your gameplay stream, basically. So what you're playing, you can share to your friends. They can see that constantly. There's different ways while you're doing game chat. You can talk to up to like 4 or 5 people at one time. I think they showed five. There was four in the bottom and you. So I think that was five in total. Um, the gameplay that you can share to your friends, it seems so choppy. It was like I think someone equated to one that somebody on Discord, maybe 61 Indies Discord, at like 5 frames per second. Um, it was really funny because you would see someone like doing like a wall jump, which is like a new mechanic in Mario Kart World. I'm like, and they're like advising, well, you should do this, you should do that. I'm like, how can you tell what's about to happen? Because everything's so fucking blurry. It's so ridiculous looking. One of my favorite notes that I put here, and it made me giggle and like I don't know if it's gonna make you giggle, but there's these commercials back in the day. I put Nintendo do what Discord also do, but worse. Because there's a Nintendo does what Nintendo do what Sega don't. I think that was a commercial in the 90s because I'm old and I'm dating myself. But yeah, this looks like a crappier version of Discord. I think Jeff Keighley was like, wait till these people find out what Discord is. And I left. One of the cool things they did mention last week at the direct that we had, where they kind of showed a lot of third party stuff, there was mention of buying a game and sharing it with your family digitally and how it works and stuff like that. That's they reiterated that with Switch games and Switch 2 games, you can do that. Moving forward, there's some caveats as well. It's on the website, you can check it out. But what they did was show game share. So I believe if you have like two Switch 2 consoles, you're in the same room, or maybe Switch 1 as well. You're in the same room, and let's say I'm playing I guess Super Smash Brothers. I can share basically my game. It's only certain games. They didn't announce the list of what games are capable with it. I think they showed 1-2 Switch back in the day or some shit like that. But game share basically, so I can share my game with everyone, so I can play on my screen independently. Let's say my son can play on his Switch independently, and it's like our own dedicated screens to what we're doing. I remember they did this, and I forgive me, and please someone down below in the chat let me know. Um, I think it was on DS or 3DS where you didn't have to buy like four like versions of like Mario Kart, let's say for 3DS or DS. You can only buy one and then share it with everyone as long as you're on like a local network and you guys can all play Mario Kart. I think it was like I want to say 3DS, but it could have been DS. Um Moving on, then that's when they went to the specs. Like I mentioned, 1080, 120 hertz screen, HDR. Thank God, it's 250 gigs off the bat, 4K resolution. Um, we also have a tour game, which is basically Nintendo's version of Astrobot's Playroom when you launch, like when you get a PS5. I'm touching it like you guys can see my PS5. And it was, hey, this is what you can do. This is the GPU garden. This is all the cool new things you could do with the PS5 that you couldn't do with PS4. Very beautiful game, kind of highlighting the history of PlayStation as well. One of my favorite games I've ever played anywhere, and it was free, and it came with a PlayStation. This game is called Welcome to Our Game. This looks like a shitty Astrobot game. And then the worst part about it, once they show this demo and like, hey, you can do this with this and this with that, and like show you what you can do with your Switch too. It goes, hey, and you can pay for this game. Are you kidding me, Nintendo? I would have to pay money to do basically what Sony did, and it's like raved reviewed. Like it's one of the best games ever. And you're gonna make me pay to teach me how to use my Switch 2. Like there isn't YouTube pages everywhere, or like YouTube sites and things like that. Like, God forbid, if I get the Switch 2 at launch, I'll teach you how to use it. You can just be here, youtube.com/nerdtoday. I'll teach you how to use it. Um, you don't have to look anywhere else. You can go IGN, GameSpot, Game Inform is back. You can check out Game Inform. I'm sure there's going to be so many different sites and articles and blogs and friends of the show and things like that showing you how to use your Switch 2, and you don't have to pay an absorbent amount of money. They didn't even say the price. What if it's $79.99? What if that's also $80? That's fucking ridiculous. Uh, but yeah, that was my major gripe with that one. It was like really cool decision by Nintendo, weird Nintendo decision, really cool decision, weird Nintendo decision. But it's Nintendo. Nintendo's gonna Nintendo. And then yeah, they showed again more micro SD, Express, confirming that, which was rumored. Pro controller, as mentioned, back buttons, things like that, showing off like the color. Looks kind of like similar to what we have here. Again, like this is white. There's 2 back paddles. There is no audio. Never realized that. That's a problem. That's a problem if I'm streaming. Anyway, no audio cord down here. I never realized it's never had one. C button, game chat will be right here. Amiibo stuff, HD Rumble 2, as I mentioned. Launched 6/5/2025. 2 months from now, basically. And then they moved on to upgraded Switch One games, stating that Switch 2 versions are coming to the platform itself. They said there was an upgrade path. They're called upgrade packs. They did mention price. They did mention you have to buy it. They highlighted a few that will need upgrade, or you can get upgrade packs. Mario Party Jamboree is one of the ones they highlighted. There's gonna be something called Jamboree TV. You can use your Switch 2 camera to do stuff, and it's like Connect. Basically, you could like show off like little hand motions or whatever. It's Mario Party. I've never played one, nor do I want to. Again, no price details on that. They did show, as I mentioned, Zelda Breath of the Wild and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The Switch 2 editions are going to be out. I said those are must buys because in this house specifically, in this house that I live in right now, must buys, day ones, because I can't imagine. I've always wanted to see what The Legend of Zelda looks like in 4K. We've had 4K technology for quite a while now. We've had the Switch for even longer, I feel like. So I've been dying to see what would Link and his adventures look like in 4K and 60 frames per second, and upgraded textures and lighting effects. I mean, they mentioned HDR and all this other stuff. It's not just it upscaled. Like there's a little more work into it. My hope is these upgrade packs are similar to what we've been getting with PlayStation. They've heard feedback. Sony's heard feedback from the fans saying, "Hey, I want this, but I already bought the game. Why do I have to buy it for $70 again? Like I already own it. It's nothing has changed other than like upresing stuff. Again, the base game hasn't changed. What you put into it, I feel does deserve some monetary, compensation for what you put into it. Upgrading the graphics, maybe you add a new mode, HDR, all this other stuff, 120 frames per second, VR, all that stuff. Cool. Let me just pay $10. And that's what I got. Like Last of Us 2 did that. Horizon 1 recently just did that. And it's an easy $10. Don't even think about it. Now I know if I ever want to play Horizon again, I have the PS5 version. All I did was pay an extra $10. I bought the game like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. Cool. I don't have to think about it. Hopefully, that's what we get here. That's what I'm hoping we get here with Switch 2. Now, Metroid Prime 2 was another one. I'm sorry, Metroid Prime Beyond, newly announced. Well, it's been announced, but we saw some gameplay last week. Now confirmed it's going to be Switch 1, Switch 2, and Switch 2 edition. One of the cool things with Metroid Prime Beyond, it already looks pretty in the direct from Switch One stuff, it's gonna look way better. 4K, 60 frames per second, or a 1080p 120 hertz version of this game. The monitor currently right in front of me while I'm recording is like 160 hertz. To see Metroid running that crazy fast is going to be insane. I can't wait. Cannot wait. Absolutely, it's going to be insane. I can't wait to see that. Again, similar. No price on an upgrade pack. Pokemon Legends was another one, which the joke is Pokemon Legends is like the thing that looks the crappiest on Switch One. So to see a Switch 2 edition of this game, thank God. The Pokemon Company needs a win on this one, and Game Freak need a win on this one. And that's highly necessary for what those games are doing. They did mention, and this is, I believe this wasn't in the direct. This was on the website. You can check it out when you go through the website. The upgrade packs, if you have the Nintendo, if I'm correct, the Nintendo Online expansion pack. So basically, Nintendo Online service with like N64, all that stuff. That pack, basically, where you get DLC and stuff. That version will allow you to get an upgrade pack for free. So you'll be able to upgrade Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for free day one when you get your Switch 2. And I believe maybe Mario Party Jamboree, but they were really cagey on their website as well with that. But again, it's awesome that I know day one, if I get a Switch 2 and I plug it in and I'm like, hey, let me really go back into Breath of the Wild and finally finish this game. It's going to be in 4K, 60 hertz, 60 frames per second, HDR, and Hyrule's going to look even more beautiful than it ever has in my mind. Insane. That's just 100% awesome. And it's already built into something I already happen to subscribe to. Like, I don't have to pay extra for this upgrade pack. Again, hopefully, upgrade pack, not that expensive. Moving on, they showed off a new game called Drag Drive, which I listed as a surprisingly diverse game, but unfortunately, I am able-bodied. I can't say whether this is truly diverse. I don't want. There was a documentary famously called Murder Ball, where it was people in a basketball league that were amputees or could not use their legs, and so they use wheelchairs. Very, very brutal game. Hence the title of the documentary called Murder Ball. But this is seemed like that. So you use the Switch Joy-Cons in mouse mode, which means you put them face down on the mat and kind of just, or your table, whatever, and go back and forth, back and forth. The optical sensor showing you like you kind of moving your wheelchair more forward. It had like a Rocket League vibe to it, I would say, where you can kind of go up on the slope, slam dunk it. You can wave at people if you need a pass or whatever. It's online. Of course, you need a Nintendo Online service for the online version, but it is what it is. Moving on, huge news from Software, and it's not what you think. Elden Ring got announced, the Tarnished Edition. No notes, unless you maybe From Software has more notes on their website of what's including. If if the DLC is included, I highly doubt Night Rain is included since that's a new mode coming out. They didn't mention if Night Rain. Am I right? I'm not. I have Elden Ring. I haven't even played it yet. The online multiplayer version, if that's going to be on Switch 2 at some point. Next, we had Epic Games with Hades 2. That's coming out on Switch 2. Street Fighter 6 Year 1 and 2 edition, which was announced across the board, like PS5, Xbox, stuff like that. That is coming out for Switch with the thing that always gets me, amiibos. Street Fighter 6 amiibos. So we have Luke, Kimberly, and I forget the third character listed. They're going to be amiibos. I need my boy Luke. I need him. I need him somewhere on this desk. I'll make space for him. He's beautiful. I love him so much. I love my little American Street Fighter boy. And then moving on, there was a bunch of games that were announced. Third-party developers. Project 007 is coming from IO Interactive to Switch 2, as well as PS5 and Xbox, of course. So that is just across the board. Current consoles will have Project 007 from IO Interactive. Hitman from IO Interactive is coming out on Switch 2 with some special Nintendo DLC. So you dress Agent 47 as Mario Luigi. It looks cool. A remastered Bravely Default. I thought that was really cool. That's a game that's kind of been on, I believe, 3DS. So that's upgraded. That's a new title and everything like that. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut got announced with new just English dub, um, updated graphics, all that jazz. So that story being updated there. New Hyrule Warriors was announced, which is a supposedly takes place during a period back in time. And where you would see Breath of the Wild. There's a period where some timey-wimey stuff happens, and that is fill in the blank of that story. For a second, though, I did put in here for a second. I mean, goosebumps up and down arms, no lie. I thought we were getting a 3D Princess Zelda game. I know we have Echoes of Wisdom, but I thought we were straight up getting like a full proper, quotes 3D Zelda game. I was like, oh, I get to play Princess Zelda in 3D. This is awesome. No, unfortunately not. One of the biggest things here on if you have the Nintendo Online expansion pack on Switch 2 on launch day, you will have access to GameCube games. There's only a few games announced from jump, so I think it was 3. One is Wind Waker, which is awesome. Next, I forget what the second title was because the third title is the thing that blew my mind, which was Soul Calibur 2, the GameCube edition. Now, if you know anything about Soul Calibur 2, if you're a fighting game fan like I am, shout out to all my FGC people out there. Soul Calibur 2 was a special game across all 3 platforms at the time: PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and GameCube. Each version was the same game basically, but they each had a special character. Xbox, for some reason, had Spawn. Okay, green, I guess. But Spawn is awesome. So you had Spawn. I played all 3 versions, by the way, and the last one I'm saying this announcement is why I'm saying for last. Spawn was fun to play with. I thought he was an interesting person to put in Soul Calibur. This is before we got used to like 2B from Nier Automata and like Noctis and stuff. No, Noctis is in Tekken. But other very strange characters don't feel the medieval vibes of Soul Calibur put into the game. So that was Xbox. PlayStation got Heihachi Mishima from Tekken. It's like cousin game basically. Bandai Namco makes produces and creates both games. It was okay. I'm a Tekken fan, big Tekken fan. Not particularly love Heihachi Mishima as a character. A B, he's a great antagonist, but like character, little one note. And B, gameplay wise, I don't really like using him. More of a Hwang or Jin player. So that was not fun playing as him. We had someone who had a PS2. We had literally, I think one day me and my friends had each version we played. And then what I own, because I had to jump on it, especially back in the day, the GameCube edition, because the playable character you got in that was Link himself in his Ocarina of Time garb. He had bombs. He had the choo-choo, the bomb chews he could throw at you from across the thing. He had, I believe, the hook shot. Definitely had his bow and arrow. Man, me and my friend Chris Roberson, man, we would just go each other's house at some point and just hours, and then we would fight. I want to be Link. No, I want to be Link. No, I want to be Link. Luckily, I'm also a maxi player, so we would alternate. Man, I saw that announcement, instant goosebumps, almost tears. It just took me back in time, man. What an incredible game. These games will all be updated graphics wise, button mapping and stuff like that to kind of get you if you want to, use a Pro Controller and use it better. As well, similar to all these like consoles that get added to, the online pass, you get a wireless GameCube controller you can buy. It's the Indigo Blue. Unfortunately, not like Atomic Purple or anything like that. But on it, we'll have the new C button and all the other little special accoutrements that you get with GameCube. So everything like that. So that's going to be nice. Next was a big announcement, which was Deltarune. All 4 chapters will be released day 1 on Switch. It's going on across every platform, but the announcement was here on the Switch announcement, Switch 2 announcement. Then a bunch of 2K stuff got announced, which was Borderlands 4 will be coming to Switch 2, whatever. NBA 2K will be coming to Switch 2. WWE 2K will be coming to Switch 2. They didn't mention if it was 2K25 or if it's going to be like the next game in the series, 2K26. But both for sure. There was also a montage of some other stuff. There was a lag here, unfortunately, watching it live. I did catch some of the announcements. Silk Song was shown, which is like the white whale for the indie community of video games. So that was shown off. Silk Song is coming out. It says 2025. Shout out to Team Cherry. So Final Fantasy VII uh remake Intergrade is coming out, which is a full featured edition that's out on Steam, Epic Game Store, and originally this the Intergrade version on PS5. And it is coming out on Switch too. Funny enough, not on Xbox. So, Square Enix is opening up that door to like having more stuff everywhere, but not on Xbox. You know what I mean? Sega, Atlas, they're like, yeah, you Xbox, you can even have it on Game Pass. I don't care. You got Persona 3. Let's sweat our back. Square Enix like, hey man, we'll give you the first 6 Final Fantasy eventually. Calm down. And then one of the interesting ones I saw, so I guess it's hard to see because we don't have like a digital foundry breakdown of like what the internals are. As I mentioned, they're custom NVIDIA chips, but like what they can really process. I'm sure as of you watching this video, it's out there. You can check it out. Check them out. Check other websites that are going to talk about what the Switch 2 can really push. I think Wolfden, who I recently been following on YouTube, has like a really video saying how strong it is, like how powerful the Switch 2 is. I'm going to check that out after recordings. But Star Wars Outlaws was shown, and I feel like that's a pretty graphics intense game. Remake Intergrade is pretty much a PS4 game with some upgrade graphics. Not saying it's not pretty; it's a beautiful game, but it's not Rebirth. Rebirth is. Are we going to get Rebirth on this? Like, that's how strong is this thing? But Star Wars Outlaws came out, in the last 12 months of this recording, so it's a pretty highly intense game. It seems like the Switch 2 might be more powerful than the Steam Deck, so it's like a little tit for tat thing. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and this is an interesting place for gaming in general. And then we have some final announcements. 3 big games got announced. One was a new From Software game exclusive to the Switch 2, called Duskbloods. I first swear to God, for a second I thought it was Bloodborne, like a multiplayer Bloodborne or something, like where you play as multiple characters. There was dinosaurs. You can fight dinosaurs, I think, at some point. But yeah, exclusive. Um, I This is where I want to. If Harv has a video, I will link it down below somewhere, whether it's on Tweet or Blue Sky, because he's the From Software guy, and this is big. This is huge. Holy crap! Miyazaki having a exclusive game on Switch 2. Like, what did Nintendo do? What kind of black magic did they work out for this? It's really interesting. So we had now two games from Miyazaki that are like exclusive: Bloodborne and Dustblood, and they have very similar vibes. Interesting. It's very interesting there. Next was Kirby Air Rider, or should I say Kirby Air Riders, which was on the GameCube. It's an upgraded version of that with some new stuff, and it is developed by Masahiro Sakurai. My note here was let Sakurai sleep, for God's sake. The man works too damn hard. I know it's been a long time since he released anything for Super Smash Brothers or anything like that. Still, let that man sleep. He deserves it. I don't care if he takes 20 years off and just gives one last game and then retires. Just rest, sir, please, please. And then finally, one of my favorite announcements of it was actually my favorite announcement of the whole thing: a new Donkey Kong game, Donkey Kong Bonanza, or as I like to call it, Donkey Kong Odyssey. It is basically Super Mario Odyssey. It is in the launch window. It's not launch date, but it's in the launch window. It, I believe, comes out in the end of July. I think it's like the 24th or 25th. Funny enough, it's very important days for me. On Switch 2 exclusive. Has a new design for Donkey Kong. He has like little darkened, sunken eyes. Looks like he's really tired, like your boy right here. That's why I really relate to him. But it looks very similar to Odyssey, where you have a lot of levels that are 3D or overworld. You're going under, rocks and all this other crazy crap is happening. Graphics look incredible. And then at some point in the trailer, they show a 2D side-scrolling level that was similar to Donkey Kong Country, like kind of some of the sections you would get in Odyssey where you're playing like 8-bit versions. It's going to be a lot. There's going to be, I think, another direct specifically about this game. Similar to Mario Kart World, there's gonna be another direct. That game, by the way, $69.99. So that one's 70, Mario Kart World's 80. I don't know how Nintendo's judging this. or maybe that's 60. It's just weird. The pricing's everywhere when it comes to Switch 2 stuff. But that is all the news right here. And then my final thoughts, a little rambling. It's been a long time since I've hung out with you guys, and I'm really happy to be here. But my final thoughts when it comes to Switch 2, I think this was a really good showcase. I think this was a really good direct. There's a lot of third-party support for Switch 2, which I think was needed, because the Switch has had a very long lifeline. This baby right here has been around for a long time and is super old, but super amazing console. And I think it's way past its time for upgrade and refresh. So shout out to Nintendo for, sorry, don't break anything. It's not my Switch. Um, for having, upgrading it, not doing anything super weird, which is unheard of when it comes to Nintendo, right? We could have got instead of Switch 2, it'd be Wii U 3 somehow. Like, wait, why? It's like, nah, just don't worry about it. It's gonna be a hit this time, I promise you. We could have got some crap like that. Of course, there's again weird Nintendo decision, right? Very good thing, upgraded Switch 2, screen real estate, screen display, 4K, variable refresh rate, you can do 1440p, 1080p, 120 hertz. You get the chat blood, with a shittier looking Discord, and a camera that's $50. You buy separate. For a price that seems pretty competitive in this market, for $450 for the base model, $500 for a bundle pack with Mario Kart World. Then you get the weird decision that Mario Kart World standalone, if you don't buy it with the bundle, is $80. So you're saving like 30 bucks, if you're not factoring tax. It's just a lot of weird name decisions with Nintendo. But they have a lot of third-party support. I think there's been this tick for tat thing with handheld market. A lot of people say Switch 2 is not a handheld. It is, and it isn't. It's both. It's an amazing console, it's an amazing concept, and it pushed the medium forward when it comes to gaming, right? Um, I think without that, you don't get this. You don't get the Steam Deck. It's a beautiful thing. Look, it's so beautiful. I can see myself. You don't get this, and this does a lot of stuff, and it does a lot of stuff. Okay, right? And now you have a chance for Nintendo to be like, oh, I see what you guys did over there, Valve. Let's try to one up it. I don't know if it's even a direct competition. I don't know what's going on in the headquarters of Nintendo. But let's see if we can make it more powerful, or work out something where is comparable. And I think with Steam Deck, with the ROG Ally X, things like these consoles, these PC consoles, are getting used to like, hey, can I play this like on the train, or during lunch break, or I'm waiting for somebody, I'm stuck in the car, so I'm gonna play like a couple rounds of Street Fighter 6. Oh, does it look as amazing as it could be on my top of the line PC if I had one? I don't have one. No. But does it run really well? Does it look really good, for when I'm playing? Yes. Does it have access to this incredible library? Yes. So that's where I'm coming with this like tit for tat thing when it comes to Switch 2. Like Switch 2 is doing something innovative, building upon the success it had with the first console in this, family, and kind of taking some ideas from the market, it seems like, to a certain degree. Again, a lot of weird decisions though. It is Nintendo. They're still going to Nintendo. But it's interesting to see where we're going to leave off. Of course, we have 2 months till the release of the Switch 2 itself. If you're getting it, let me know down below. Comment. Follow me, Blue Sky, @NerdToday. No underscore. Unlike this right here. Where is it? Right there. That's Twitter. That's sadly a dying platform, thanks to certain South Africans. But everywhere else, take those underscores. All one word, Nerd Today. That's where you can find me. That's all that matters, man. I'll leave you with this one. Thank you for, if you watch this video, thank you for waiting. It's been a long time. If you like what you see here, you can check me out over at Point in Progress, where I have become in this past year. I've become a member of Point in Progress. I have a streaming series called It's Not a Loop, where we play Remedyverse games. It's my first time going through that series. So we have Alan Wake Remastered and Alan Wake American Nightmares is season 1. Season 2 just wrapped up with Quantum Break, and we're getting ready to start season 3 with Control. I have a DC movie podcast called DC Graduates with me and Sly from Point of Progress talk about why DC movies can be awesome as long as they're animated. Of course, there's good live action movies. That's just a joke, but we talk about a lot of movies. We're on season 3 there. Have a lot of fun. You can just jump in any episode if you watch the movie. We highly recommend you watch the movie so you can have your own opinions when you watch, with us. But you can just jump in anytime. And then recently we just did a really cool review of this docu-series, the first 2 episodes, called Terabytes. You check that out, Point of Progress, youtube.com/Point of Progress. Links will be all down below. And if you like this on audio, check it out on video. If you're watching on video, check it out on audio. Till next time, I'll see you guys on the flip side.